before I start reviewing the trades that we actually took within this week, um, I'm just going to start with a story time. Right. So this other day, I was actually listening to one of these professional, or what I can refer to as good traders, right? If you actually follow that guy, so I'm not just going to expose his name here, right? So if you follow this guy, you can definitely be able to learn something, especially for those who are new um, in this industry of trading, right? So he was referring to something, right? He said, if you deposit 1,000 rand into your account, right, and spend the whole year trading each month, making profit of 10 rand from that 1,000 deposit up until the year ends, which means you are making 10 rand every month, right? And by the end of the year, right, you are going to be making maybe 110 or 120 rands, right? So he was actually referring that to is being profitable, right? He was referring to that as being profitable. If someone comes to you and asks you this question, are you a profitable trader, right? The answer that you can give them is yes, I'm actually a profitable trader, because you have been trading your account and you've actually been making profit from that account. You've been making that 10 rand profit per month up until the year ends. So it actually means that you have been profitable, right? So the only problem that he pointed out is whenever you come to this industry and you are new, right? Whatever that you are being exposed to, you are exposed to flashy material things, right? You see someone on Instagram, you see someone on Twitter showing up luxury watches, showing up luxury cars, right? Showing mansions and so on, right? So whenever you come to this industry, you have that mentality to actually make it overnight, right? You have the mentality to actually make it over the night, right? You don't look at the effort those people they have been putting before, right? They have years while they've been within this industry, right? They've been working for that money to actually acquire those materials, right? And the other problem is whenever you come and you are new to this industry and then you fall into the wrong hands, right? You fall into the hands of the influential traders, right? The thing that they will actually teach you, they are not the things that will definitely give you personal growth, right? Or give you your investment growth, right? The thing is, they are selling a dream to you. And whenever you are trying to acquire your goals, right, you do them without any plan. You actually think that whatever that they are doing, right, they did it over the night, right? And some of these influential traders, right, they are making money out of courses. They are making money out of whatever content that they are selling to the people, right? So whenever they come to the social media, the only life that you see a flashy life and you want to be like these guys, right? And there's nothing wrong being like these guys, right? In terms of material things, right? But what you need to know is you have to put effort, you have to put more effort, right? To actually understand how this financial market actually works, right? You should have a strategy. That's the first thing, right? Have a strategy, be disciplined enough, right? To know whatever that you are looking for whenever you come to the charts, right? If you implement that same strategy that you have learned, right, and understands that this market evolves most of the times, right, you will know what to do on a certain period, right, or on a certain time, right? So the thing is, if you come with a mentality that you want to make money, right, overnight, and become like these influential traders, right? Everything goes sideways because whenever you are trading, you are actually trading with pressure, right? You are actually trading um with this mentality of I just want to make it overnight and I want them to see me that this thing actually works out, right? But this thing actually doesn't work out like that. This thing actually requires your time. You really need to invest time into this thing and understand how it actually works, right? And you need to know that it's not every time where you will make profits, right? Sometimes you are definitely going to face losses. How are you going to be dealing with those losses? How are you going to be coming back, right, to the charts and say, okay, I have faced a loss. This is how I'm definitely going to be dealing with this loss, right? So this actually requires you to have knowledge, to have wisdom, right? About how you can deal with your losses, about how you can deal with your wins. And give yourself time to build, right? Give yourself time to build, right? You can come with an investment of $100, right? And the thing is, you want that $100 to be a 10,000 US dollars in the following day, right? Which is definitely going to be exposing you more, right, to high risk, right? So you need to know that, okay, if I have came to this business with $100, right, at least I need to compound this certain percentage, right? So that by the end of the month, I could have maybe seen growth, right? So with me nowadays, I actually recommend um, traders to go for funded accounts, right? Because the funded accounts, right, prop firm accounts can be able to make you develop a strong set of discipline, right? Because you know that you are being guided by rules. So you don't just trade anyhow, right? So if you come with $100, right, to this industry, right, to the prop firm industry, right, you can be able to purchase a 25,000 US dollar account, right? So if you are trading that capital, right, you have the mentality that you are trading a 25,000 US dollar account, right? Even though if you are guided by the rules that says you are supposed to be risking this certain amount or this certain percentage within a day, and you also have an overall percentage that you have to risk on that account, right? So you are definitely going to be guided by these principles. So you are not just going to be trading somehow, right? And these prop firms, with these prop firm accounts, there's something that is actually good that I have actually observed, right? So even if you have invested your $100, you have bought your 25,000 US dollar account, right? You'll see that even if you are targeting something like 5% to 10% of that account, right? Within a month after you have been funded your with the life capital, right? You can definitely see that you are able to make something like 1,000 US dollars, right? To something like 2,200 US dollars after they have deducted their own partial, right? After they've deducted their own percentage on the profit that you've made, right? So if they pay you 80%, 90%, 95%, right? You are getting something between 1,000 US dollars to something like 2,200 US dollars, right? Which is something that is actually good. So imagine you have invested your $100, right? You have taken maybe a period of a month to pass your challenges. Either it's a one-step challenge, or either it's a two-step challenge, right? You have given yourself a month to pass those evaluation phases, right? And then you have been funded in the following month, right? And you are targeting 5 to 10%, right? You are going to be making 1,000 US dollars. You are going to be making 2,200 US dollars from that 25,000 US dollar account, which is something that is different from trading your own personal account of $100, right? Because if you want to make that 1,000 US dollar, right, within a month, you are going to be risking more, right, to target that, right? But here you are risking maybe 0.5%, right, per day whenever you are taking trades, right? Even if you trade maybe 2 to 3 times within a week, you are definitely going to be getting that kind of return, right? But if you're trading your personal account, your $100 personal account, right, you are going to be over leveraging, you are going to be over risking so that you can get higher return, right? So the thing is, if you start with a Profima account, you invest your $100, right? You are definitely going to see that it's going to be different than trading your personal account. You are guided by principles, and whenever you trade, you actually wait for a setup to confirm so that you can take positions, right? And whenever you are risking, you know that you are risking a certain percentage. Even if you are to lose that certain percentage, right? You come back tomorrow and you actually have a peace, right? A peace mind, right? To even execute more trades rather than on a $100 account you've deposited into your personal account, you've blown maybe 50, you have lost $50, right? From that account, then the mentality is definitely going to be different. Even if you come back tomorrow, right? You have this thought of, if I lose this $50, I'm actually gone, right? And you might find out that's the only investment that you've actually been able to save so that you can start trading, right? But if you can take prop firms, follow the rules, right? It gets easier, right? It actually gets easier. And another thing is, um, once you've managed to make your first payout, right, you can be able now to expand your portfolio, right? You can be able to expand your portfolio, right? Maybe buying $100,000, buying your 200,000 dollar account, right? With your payout, right? And this can make things easier because if you can trade and make 1%, right, which is something like 2,000 dollars from that 200,000 dollar funded account, right? It's a lot of money per month, right? So there's a possibility that you can be able to make even up to 5%. So you can see that it's actually better to trade funded accounts, right? And these can also give you an allowance to develop your own uh, huge personal portfolio, right? You can be able to make payouts from these funded accounts and develop your personal account, right? You can be able to maybe deposit up until you get something like 5,000 dollars, 10,000 dollars, 20,000 dollars, and you can be able to treat this personal funding like how you are treating the prop firm accounts, right? So don't be put pressure, right? Don't let people on social media put pressure on you, right? You need to trade while you are steady, while you have a peaceful mind, right? Don't be put pressure. You have your own personal journey, right? Develop step by step. Develop step by step. I actually have some people that I actually started with back then, right? And those people they were able to become profitable in a space of 12 months, some in 2 years and stuff. But as in for me, I became profitable, right? Consistently profitable after 3 years, right? After 3 years, that's where I became uh, consistently profitable. So the thing is, you don't have to rush this journey, right? Take your time, develop the skill, understand whatever that you are doing, right? And you need to know that whatever that you are making, as long as you are making profits and they are compounding, right? No matter the capital that you have, you are a profitable trader, right? You have the capacity and the potential to handle, right, any bigger investment that can be given to you, right? So if you can be profitable constantly on R100, on $100 account, on a $10, on a $20 account, right? If you can get a 200,000 dollar funded account, right, with a prop firm, you can be able to be profitable the same way that you have been on those smaller accounts. So you don't need to put pressure on yourself, right? Give yourself time, right? If you're trading that small capital, keep on being consistent, tracking your growth on those smaller accounts, right? When the opportunity comes whereby you can be able to get these bigger funded accounts, right? You can be able now to see the efforts that you have actually been putting, right? So being profitable doesn't say anything about being successful or having a lot of money. You actually need to understand that. So you can be a profitable trader while you don't even have massive money, right? But being a profitable trader can guide you to acquire whatever that you need, right? To acquire whatever wealth, whatever success that you need in this business, right? So without saying much, right? Let me just hop into the charts and then show you guys what we have been doing this week, right? The losses that we made, the break-evens that we made, the profits or the targets that we made, right? So the thing is, I'm just gonna be looking at trading view at the same time. We'll go to the Discord server. I show you all the setups, the trades that we have been sharing, right? With the community, right? We trade live this site, right? We stream live on Discord. So whatever that is being done in the Elite Traders community is being done live, right? We start our live exactly at 1400 p.m., right? South African time, right? Most of the times, right? 2 o'clock, right, in the afternoon, the South African time, right? That's the time that we actually start our lives within our Elite Traders um, community, right? So yesterday I actually had a live, right, within the free community, right? So there is a time where I'm definitely going to also be having those lives. So that might just be once a month with the free community, right? But most of the time we are live, right? We are live in the Elite Traders community, right? So the thing is, I'm just gonna go and look at all the trades that we actually took within this week, right? So we review a trade, we go to the Discord, I show you this is what we're expecting, this is what happened, and so on, right? So looking at this, right, where I was actually expecting this market to buy, right? I was expecting gold to buy from these demands, right? So I had highlighted my demands from a higher time frame, right? I have highlighted my demand, right? And I also had to highlight all these demands on these different structures so that I can be able to monitor and see whatever this market was actually doing, right? So I was actually expecting to buy from this demand since there was a stronger confluence, right? So I was expecting to buy gold from these levels and then expected to push as far as that supply up there, right? So that was what we actually expected. So we actually took positions here, right? And then this market, for some time, it pushed into profit. It came back to our entries back, it went to profit again, and then we had to move to break even, right? We had to move to break even, we had to put our stop losses above the entry. So when this market came back, right, it had to trigger our break even stops, right? So if you can go to the Discord, you can definitely see that this is what we're actually expecting, right? We're expecting this market to respect these demands, push and buy, right? And push towards that supply that I had marked up there, right? So if you can see, we actually had a break even, right, on this setup. We actually had a break even on this setup. So this was the break even that we actually had on Monday, right, on gold, right? And the second trade that we had on that day, it was actually the US30 trade, right? We're actually looking at a 1:3.5 risk to reward ratio, right? So I was expecting this asset to also sell from this supply and drop as far as this point, right? I was expecting it to drop as far as the 1.3, sorry, 1:3.5 risk to reward ratio, right? But this is what happened now, right? So this market actually started dropping to the downside, right? Started dropping, right? So while it was dropping, I also had to take partials, right? I had to take partials, and some of the positions I had to move to break even, right? So this market actually moved something like 1:2, right, on the movement, right? That was close to 1:2, right? So I had to book the 75% of my positions, and then I left the other position running, which had to break even, right? So this was the second trade on that day. So let's just go to US 30. right? Let's just go to US30 and look at US30 so that I can be able to show you guys the trade that I'm actually talking about, right? Right, so let me just remove that. Right, so this is the trade that I'm actually talking about, right? So if I can just zoom, right? So the thing is, I was actually expecting this market to push as far as this point, right? But I had to take one of my positions exactly here, and then I had to move to break even, right? So that the other trade can run up until this point, right? But the thing is, this market actually respected this inefficiency, right? Just slightly tapped into this inefficiency and then continued going up, right? So looking at this, I just considered closing a 1:2.8%, right? So this is what we closed with the community, right? So this is the trade that we actually had on that day, right? So what I was expecting, I was actually expecting the market to sweep out this liquidity, right? To sweep out, actually grab that liquidity, right? Because I had marked this, right? I wanted this asset to actually tap, right? To actually tap within that gap, right? I actually wanted it to tap within that gap. What's happened, right? Oh, sorry, right. I wanted to tap within that gap, right? I wanted it to tap within that gap, and then okay, sorry. I was having a technical fault this side. It seems something had shifted, and okay, now it's back, right? So the thing is, we're actually expecting sales, right? We're expecting sales from this level, right? So whatever that we observed first, we observed a first rejection on this level, right? And I had to wait for our entry around New York, or around after the New York Open, right? So we had to tap and get into these sales, which actually gave us what? A 2.28 percent, even though we're looking at obtaining a 3.5%, right? So this is the second trade that we had within that day. So we had a break even on Monday, and we actually had a win. We considered this as a win, right? And we actually had a win on US30, right? And going back to our our Discord, you can definitely see that these are the two trades that we actually had on Monday, right? And then on Tuesday, we also had a USD trade, right? 1:3 risk to reward ratio, right? And this is what actually happened, right? This is the trade that we actually got, right? And it actually paid well, right? It actually paid well, right? So let me go and show you what we're actually expecting there. So I'm not going to explain the strategy in full, but I'm just going to be revealing these trades, right? Revealing the trades that we have taken within this week so that you guys can see what we are also doing this side. And from whatever that I will be explaining here, you can also be able to grasp and understand how we were able to get these positions, right? So you can definitely see those were the entries. This trade went as far as our take profit, right? So looking at the market, this is what we're actually paying attention to, right? This is what we're actually paying attention to, right? I had to go and highlight my supply structure, right? On the 1 hour time frame. So I'm not going to shift and go to 1 hour time frame today, right? I'm just going to explain how we got this trade on the current time frame we are, right? So here's what happened, right? I had to go mark my supply structure on the 1 hour time frame and 4 hour time frame, and this is what happened, right? Since we're expecting this market to actually sell, right? I wanted this market to push towards the supply structure, right? Like how it did, it pushed, it came towards the supply structure and triggered, right? Which means we could have taken sales here at this time, right? But the thing is, my intention was to take positions after, right? The New York Open, right? So when the session opened, right? This was exactly at past, right? The market pushed up, right? It pushed up, and then it came for this supply, right? Triggered the supply, and then came down, started consolidating, right, for some time, and then it dropped, coming back to the demand on the 15-minute time frame. So if you are to mark the demand on the 15-minute time frame, right, it's coming to something like this point, right? And this was also an opportunity for buying, because when we were live, I also told the guys that if this market comes back to trigger this demand, there's also a possibility to buy up until it takes out this high, right? Which was also a good trade that was also giving something like a 1:2, right? But we didn't actually take this, because whatever that I wanted to see here, I wanted to see 330 coming to this area of interest, right? Coming back for this demand, right? Exactly. And then whatever that I wanted to see the 430 movement going up, right? Getting exhausted, right? And then we get sales from the movement, right? So the thing is, we're actually supposed to be getting our positions from this point, right? But the thing is, I was caught with something, and I was slightly a little busy, right, at that moment. But I actually called out this move now, right? I observed this move when it was exactly at this point. So I had to call out this move, and we had to get an entry from this point, and we had to get a 3.5% right on this move, right? So before all these things happened, I was expecting to see this market dropping, coming back for this, and then we can buy from here, or this market pushing, coming for the supply, and then we can sell from that area of interest, right? So the thing, this is the sale that we got on yesterday, and it actually went well. And this was a smooth movement up until we actually hit our take profit, right? So this was the first trade on Tuesday, and it was actually a wonderful and successful trade that actually paid well, right? So you can see that if you are consistent enough to wait for your setups to play out, right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right, whether you have small capital or what. When you get the right funding at the right time, you can be able to get good returns like these ones, right? So this was the first trade within that day, and we also discussed about this trade, right, with the community, right? I didn't actually take this, but we discussed about this during the live session, right? And I did the market was still above here, and then I told these guys that, okay, when this market pushes to the downside, I'm expecting it to react around the demand, right, that I actually highlighted on 1 hour time frame. And if it respects this, we are going to see this move that we actually missed on Monday, right? Or the move that didn't play out on Monday. We are going to see that movement where the market is definitely going to be pushing up until it comes for the supply zone up there, right? So this one, I didn't take positions on it, but we discussed about it, right? And I actually only took that one trade yesterday on Tuesday, right? And community members, sometimes whatever they do is, if they are under a mentor, they always require you to give them instructions. Now we are trading and stuff, take positions on this certain asset and stuff. But if we discuss these things during a live, it's also an opportunity for you guys to go to your charts, do your markups, wait for those areas to be respected, and you can be able to take an opportunity to trade. Because this side, I always tell my members that I'm only training people to become independent traders and professional traders, not the people who always need spoon feeding every time. Whenever I don't trade, you don't trade. It actually doesn't make sense, because I might decide to go for a vacation for the whole year. What are you going to be doing with your family? How is your family going to be surviving? If you are a person who is actually surviving on what? On our live stream trading, or the person who is surviving on our assets and so on. So you need to be active, give yourself time to learn, understand, go and look at those trades. What's the reason why we're looking at a buy here? What's the reason why we got a break even, a stop loss, a TP on this trade? So that will actually develop your trading skill, right? So on the following day, right, which is on Wednesday, we actually had our trade, right? We actually had our trade on gold, a 1:2 a risk to reward ratio, right? This is what I actually had with the community. And this trade, it just went straight. for the take profit. It just went straight for the take profit, this trade, right? So you can definitely see we also booked good profits that day, right? I actually booked good profit that day. So we're looking at this setup and we wanted to see this market dropping, coming for this demand, right, to trigger our take profit, right? So we're also expecting to buy from this area, but I was only focused on selling at that moment because I didn't want to give more pressure on the students and stuff. So, you know, trading less, it actually helps you to become profitable also, right? So we actually focused on this sell and it actually moved well. It actually hit the take profit and we're done with that setup in less than 15 minutes, right? That was actually 15 minutes, right? So going to gold, right? Let me just go to gold and then just show you the reason why I was actually expecting a sell on that structure, right? So looking at this, you can definitely see that I had also highlighted that supply structure, right? And we talked about this setup, right? Moving as far as this point, right? Moving as far as this point, and you can see it actually did that, right? Which means if I had taken this trade, it was actually also going to be paying well, right? But we discussed about this movement, right? The initial movement during that day, but I told the guys this market is a potential of buying as far as it goes to that supply structure up there, right? But the thing is, this is what we're waiting on that day, right? I wanted this asset to go for the supply. So we're supposed to be getting an entry up there. But this happened too fast, right? We came to this point and then we triggered into this supply. The market started dropping, right? So the thing is, I wanted to see this market coming down for it to continue going up, right? So which means we also had the potential to get buys at this point and continue with the market, right? But this time we just focused on getting um sales, right, to this demand, right? And we had to get those sales because we're moving away from the supply zone, right? That's how we got these sales, and we're also paying attention to this demand. We also had an inefficiency on the structure, so the market had to come fill in that inefficiency, tap into the demand, and continue. So that's how we got this sell on gold, right? And then that day, we also had another setup again, which was actually a US 30, and we're looking at a 1:2 risk to reward ratio, right? We're expecting this market to actually sell from the exhaustion, right? And then push as far as 1:3, right? But we're focused on a 1:2. So this is what actually happened. It pushed as far as 1:1. We moved to break even, right? And then it came back to trigger our break even stop. That's how we got a break even on this trade, right? On this day, right? So that's a US 30. Let me just go there and just tell you in brief the reason why we're actually expecting sales, right, from that point, right? So if you can see, we're actually pushing to the upside, right? Actually pushing to the upside. And this zone, it was actually a zone of supply also, right? And the thing is, we didn't actually manage to take a position here, right? If we'd taken a position here, we're definitely going to be getting a 1:2 risk to reward ratio, right? But I wanted this asset to actually show great exhaustion, right? Like how we did go below this structure, retest, right? This certain level look below our EMA, right? Like what it did here, and then take those positions as far as going down there, right? So this was supposed to be 1:3 risk to reward ratio. So we're looking at the market pushing as far as this point, but it didn't actually push as expected, and then it had to continue going above that point again, right? So the thing is, we actually had a break even, like I said, on this trade, right? And I'm sure the day was done as we only had those two setups, one which was actually a win and another one which was actually a break even, right? And the following day, which is on Thursday, we actually had a US 100, right? Or NASDAQ or US Tech, right? Setup, right? So this is what we're actually looking at, right? Since this market was actually giving a sequence, right, of a selling momentum, right, I was expecting the market to move towards the demand and fill in the inefficiency, right? So the thing is, this is how we were actually paying attention to the structure, right? So we wanted this market to come below the zone that we had highlighted, the internal fair value gap, right? So it had to come respect the fair value gap, the inefficiency, right? Filling in the inefficiency, right? And then it also had to respect the internal fair value gap, right? The internal inefficiency, right? So this rejection gave us a go ahead, right? To wait for this market, right? To wait for this market to break below, right, and come back and retest our EMA level, right, to retest our EMA level and then get into what? Get into sales, right? So here we actually got this move. After this is rejected, we hit our sell limits, right? So our sell stops set here, and then it was actually triggered, and then the market started continuing, dropping to the downside, and this is what I actually made on another account on this day, right? And on another account, I didn't actually put the screenshot here, right? But we actually made good profits that day, right? So this was actually a win, and we actually got that 1:2 risk to reward ratio on this trade, right? And we only got one setup on Thursday, and then yesterday we were actually looking on gold, right? And we're looking at a 1:2 risk to reward ratio, right? We ended up with a break even, right? So with this asset, I was actually expecting it to sell towards this golden zone, right? Towards this golden zone, and we're expecting buys from this point, right? But the thing is, there was actually a market shift structure here that had to impose us taking these buys to continue going for the highs, right? Like what you are seeing on this screenshot, right? But the thing is, this asset didn't move as expected, right? Which is a thing that we are definitely going to be considering removing Friday on our trading day. So we are just going to be trading from Monday to Thursday only, right? Fridays, they didn't actually do well for me yesterday. The movements were actually lame on all the assets, right? So when this market started moving, right, I had to decide to move to break even because I was not sure with the movements, with what gold was actually doing yesterday, and even other assets. That's why I only had to focus on gold, right? And it had to come for our break even. So we closed with a break even yesterday. So I'm just gonna go again. We go and look at the US 100, right, and the gold setup trade, right, that I was just showing you recently, right? So this is the setup, right, that I was talking about, right, that we got on US 100, right? And this is how it moved, right? We got our entry, and then the market just moved towards our target, and then we were actually done, right, on this trade, right? So like what I explained, these are the reasons why I was expecting to be selling from those points to actually target this demand. And when our take profit was hit, we didn't consider this continuation move to the downside because we're actually focused on getting our 1:2 and call it a day. So this is what I was talking about, right? Discipline, right? Don't look at over trading within a day. Even if you set your targets and you've met your targets, close your charts, call it a day, right? You wait for another opportunity, another time, right? But if you close positions and then you see this market selling now again, and then you say, okay, let me just hope in and continue with this trade, you are going to affect your plan, right? So if I set my plan within that day and say, okay, or if I analyze and say I'm looking at this setup and this is my target, I'm targeting $1,000 US, I'm targeting $200, I'm targeting $50, I'm targeting $100, right? if I hit that target, there and there, I close my charts, I focus on another things, and then call it a day, which is something that is very important. That can be able to make you become profitable, right? So this is the trade on the US 100, right? And then this is what we're actually expecting yesterday on gold, right? We wanted gold to actually come for this golden zone like what it did later, right? So it seems like it's holding from this zone. So we are definitely going to see on Monday if it actually respects this structure, right? So the reason why we took buys is because the market had to go above this previous high, and then there was more like a continuation pattern, right? So I was expecting this market to actually buy from this point and then trigger this highs, right? So the thing is, this market actually moved as far um, as because the stop loss was actually somewhere around this point, right? Right. So it was something like 1:3, right? So the thing, this market moved as far as a 1:1, right? I could have just booked profits and then moved out, right? But I was expecting this market to move as far as up there, right? So when it moved and it came around these points, I had to just move to break even and leave it like that, right? So I was expecting for the market to continue. If it doesn't continue, it will just come and trigger the break evens and then we'll be fine because we had already been profitable within the week. So the thing is, you don't just need to keep on giving yourself pressure. If you have hit a break even and then that setup fails, right? Just skip on that day, right? Just skip on that day and leave it like that and say, okay, it's fine. I'll come back the other day and look for better opportunities, right? If you hit a stop loss, the same thing. You hit your target, it's the same thing, right? So thank you guys for sticking up until to the end of this video, right? Make sure you subscribe on this channel, you like these videos, you comment with your questions, and then maybe with whatever that you need to comment with, right? Comment so that I know what to deliver to you guys, right, within this YouTube channel. So thank you guys. My intention was not to make a video that is long, like this, but anyway, let's just end this video